Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you well from wherever you watch this channel. Now, the Standard newspaper was attacked by William Samoei Ruto over the previous headlines that he has been sharing.
And the gates of hell cannot overcome this nation. Na wale wanataka kutuhubiria usaliti ati umoja ni usaliti, tunataka tuwaambie waende wasome Biblia. Where there is unity, God commands a blessing.
There is this headline about Judas' betrayal. You all saw that headline whereby there is Raila there and there's William Samoei Ruto. So Ruto reacted to that headline. Now guess what? Standard has again shared another posting about the making of an autocrat. Now, based on the details which have been shared on that headline, ladies and gentlemen, Ruto is being referred to an autocrat, someone who is very, very authoritarian, someone who wants people to feel that he is the most superior. Of course, the Constitution gives William Ruto a lot of superiority, but according to Standard newspaper, there are details here that they have shared on that frontline cover. But before we get to the details of that newspaper headline, you see on the front cover, I'd like to kindly urge you to support us by liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you are not subscribed before. And to our existing subscribers, I want to continue thanking you so much, because without you, this channel wouldn't have grown. So Standard newspaper has talked about details, reasons why they believe that Ruto is slowly becoming an autocratic president. One of the things is that Ruto is intimidating opponents. There's a point there which they have shared about intimidating opponents. Now, on that point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you to the claims by Rigathi. And Rigathi said that goons have been deployed on him to try to, to make sure that he doesn't speak in the public. If you go to the issue of Wamatangi, there is also debate there that the police were deployed on him, and maybe there are some trumped up charges on corruption cases. Those are some of the things which the opponents, people who are fighting the government, are talking about. Now, that matter is still under investigation, so we can't conclude whether Wamatangi is guilty or not guilty. But I believe EACC and the DCI are very competent, and they are doing their job diligently. And most likely, they're going to unearth the mystery around millions which were found in Wamatangi's possession. So, talking about intimidating opponents, that's a point that Standard newspaper has highlighted. There's another part here where Standard newspaper talks about centralizing power. Ruto has centralized power. Well, maybe this can be supported by the sentiments which Justin Muturi revealed a couple of, I think 2 weeks ago, when Justin Muturi reacted to the incompetent remarks. And Justin Muturi told us about many details, especially details on the signings, documents which he refused to sign, about some deal which was suspicious. And he talked about how Ruto manages ministries. There has been talk about micromanagement style of William Ruto. The style of leadership that he has is micromanagement. He micromanages those ministries. That is a complaint that has come from many leaders. Still on this autocratic leadership, that is what the Standard newspaper said. They talked about tear gassing students. Of course, by this they are trying to refer to Echoes of War. That play whereby the Butere girls were not allowed to, enjoy their rights of showcasing their talent peacefully with all the materials needed. They were denied lights, they were denied speakers, they were denied so many things, and they were even denied audience. They walked out and started chanting and demanding for their rights and demanding for the director to be released. So it was all chaos. And then there's one particular time whereby when they were going back to Butere, the bus stopped somewhere, still within Nakuru, and police realized that they were going to cause mayhem. That's when tear gases were thrown. So I think the newspaper is talking about that scenario because that is what we can remember about tear gassing of students. Of course, when Uhuru was in power, there was also a scenario where pupils were tear gassed. You remember that story? I don't know, was it Ruaraka Land, but there was some story about tear gassing pupils. So there is an element of veiled threats. Then there is mass church rallies. Now, talking about mass church rallies, I'm reminded of AIPCA when Ruto went to Meru and even gone to an extent of pronouncing that church as a government church or a state church. Remember that story? It's just a story that took place, I think, this end of to somewhere there, mid or beginning of last week. And then what followed is that there were leaders from Meru who went to visit Rigathi Gachagua at his Wamunyoro farm. And that is a story that took place on Saturday. So the big question here, ladies and gentlemen, is Kenya witnessing the making of a modern day strongman? Is Kenya witnessing the making of a modern day strongman? You know, that's a very important question, which I expect you to just respond below on your comment section. Let me take you back to Moi's time. I believe some of you know the history of Moi's rule. And when Moi took over, somewhere there, 77, 78 there, he wasn't that of a dictator, if I may use that term. So he was some kind of a democrat. But the moment there was this coup, attempted coup, that is when Moi started ruling with an iron fist. So he ruled with an iron fist until he left office in 2002. But somewhere along within his leadership, there were a lot of things which are unspeakable that happened. There were a lot of abductions also. You know the story of Nyayo House, torture, and Raila's detention without trial. All those stories, you know about them. Now, when Standard talks about is Kenya witnessing the making of a modern day strongman, are we looking at a possibility where Ruto is going to now rule with an iron fist? Assuming he realizes that he's falling out with everyone. Nobody seems to be listening to him. Is he going to now start embarking on Museveni's style of rule? What is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? I want to just go below in the comment section and tell us whether you think what Standard newspaper is saying is true, that Kenya is most likely is witnessing the making of a modern day strongman. And you saw the headline there, the autocrat, you know, autocratic leadership. And if you go to the dictionary, you are told that an autocratic person is a person who behaves in an authoritarian manner. Taka feel kwamba yeye ndio mkubwa, nyinyi nyote mko chini, he is the man, you know, authoritarian. I don't know whether an autocrat, that word can be best referred to someone like Trump. Sijui kama Trump ni autocrat. Do you think Trump is an autocrat? Just go below in the comment section and you can offer your reaction. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.